we had a case here where pretty recently, this was the last one that I tried actually, and I have a lot of help now because I'm not as nimble as I used to be in court. I'm not in court as much. I have to manage the whole office. But this was an awful case in which this mother of a 14-year-old girl and the mother's boyfriend essentially plotted to kidnap and rape and assault and then murder this 14-year-old girl. And they carried it out. They did do that. And this young girl was Grace Packer. God rest her soul. And so we went through the process. And this poor Grace, she had such a tortured history. It was not her fault, but she had been abused before. She was adopted by this lady. And the lady just kind of viewed her, I think, as a paycheck from the government. And that's how she treated her. She would keep her locked in a bedroom until finally, I think they just felt she was more trouble than she was worth. She really never had a chance. And my overarching theme of the case was there is no such thing as a disposable child. No child is disposable. And as it turned out, we somehow, and this is, if I can dovetail a lesson in here, we have a very collegial bar association here, meaning that our district attorneys from the top down and back up get along very well with our defense bar. And one way or another, we were able to make it palatable for that mother to plead guilty to first-degree murder and take a life sentence, which in Pennsylvania means you serve the rest of your life in prison. And
life,
then the
life
boyfriend,
is life in PA?
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then the boyfriend, and this was through this collegiality because the top public defender represented this guy, and she had a team, and I had a team as well, and we would collaborate a lot, meaning not on like, hey, this is how this is all going to the outcome, but on what are the issues? What can I concede to make this go smoother, meaning on my side, and how can we just we just need to contest the issues. And we were able to come to an agreement on, I'd say, 90% of all the issues, which was amazing, to the point, Meg, where the guy actually pleaded guilty to doing it, and then we impaneled a jury to determine whether he would get life in prison or the death penalty. And that was the only issue.
So he pled guilty, and the only issue was the bifurcation of the sentencing.
Yeah, which is extraordinarily rare.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I did was I conceded to him that he could use as a mitigator, and I don't want to get too in the weeds, but in his favor, that his co-defendant had already gotten a life sentence, that the jury could hear that. And that's not permitted, really, in Pennsylvania. I could have fought very easily and excluded that because this was an extrajudicial mitigator. And I felt like, look, this guy should have a chance to fight for his life, even though I have my own opinions on what the outcome should be,
Mm-hmm.
that he should have an opportunity to present that. And he did. And the jury sentenced him to death. And he ended up going to jail, and he lasted about a year or two, and he died in prison. So, if you believe in God, you could say that's just desserts or what have you. But
Mm-hmm.
that was an extraordinary case in which we collaborated with the opposition in all but the result. And I believe that the right result was justly reached. But I've also had murder cases where I've lost. I had a 6-week jury trial in Lehigh County on a murder case where the young man had a pretty good self-defense argument. The case was it was charged before I got involved. Maybe had I been involved, it might not have been charged. I don't know. And my boss insisted, look, you got to take this in. I said, okay, I think I have an argument. And I made the best argument I could. And the jury found him not guilty after 6 weeks. And although, we like to, our competitive nature takes over, certainly, you got to play by the rules. And if that's the jury's verdict, so be it. So be it. And I've come to accept it.